Alrighty, welcome to the second round of the Spring Festival, Boylston. Remember, I did great. I won my first round game, and in my second round, I get the black pieces. I matched up against Jacob Mishuris. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Jacob seems like he just turned 9. He was as an 8-year-old, he was in the top 30 in the nation, that kind of thing. But as a 9-year-old, sadly, he's slipped to just in the top 100. Whenever you play kids, you always expect them to be a bit better than their rating. But at the end of the day, their rating is not that far off. So a lot of people I've talked to in the Tuesdays, people either my age or not kids at least, are a little bit afraid to play kids. I'm not. It's because, this kid is probably one day will be better than me, but he ain't better than me now. So you gotta kind of have to play in the now. So 9-year-old, this kid, I'm gonna fucking wipe him. During the game, there's two things I'm gonna point out as well. The first is that I hustled back, because remember, if you watch the first round recap, I forgot my glasses. So after my first round game, I hustled back to my apartment. I made myself a tuna fish sandwich, a coffee, and I grabbed my glasses, and then I had to head on back to the chess club. I made it back, and rounds generally start late. I made it to the chess club at 2:02, and it actually started on time, unbelievably. So I actually was 2 minutes late for this game. It's not much. It's not a big deal. But my clock, I made my first move with 1:27 left, for the record. So obviously didn't miss that much time, but I was a few minutes late to the board. During this time as well, my opponent at one point made an illegal move. I said, you can't do that. And I didn't enforce me getting 2 extra minutes, even though he was playing very fast. I probably could have used the 2 minutes. I just thought it was going to be more of a hassle, number one. And number two, at one point, he thought he touched a piece. He was just kind of all over the place. And I said, don't worry about it. And then he gave me the shush side. I was like, what the fuck? So the board on my right, there's a kid named Neil Parwani. I think that's his last name. And I have yet to play Neil, but Neil, for whatever reason, he's probably a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old. This kid has been on the board next to me in the Boston Chess Congress, at the Hartford Open that I played, and now this one. Any of these major tournaments, for whatever reason, we just keep sitting near each other. And he seems like a funny kid. And so when that happens, he was he wasn't watching his own board. He watched us, and he was just sort of laughing in the middle of the chess room, because obviously this 9-year-old kid is being ridiculous. I literally was don't worry about it, you accidentally touched a piece. And then he fucking shushed me. So I'm glad that in that moment that I wasn't out of my gourd, where this other little kid, noticed it and was yeah, this kid's being ridiculous. Anyway, those are the two little foibles. After the game, Jacob's mom was like, so, what do you think? Is he good? And I said, yeah, he played great. What am I supposed to say? You know what I mean? No, your kid sucks at chess. Anyway, all right, so let's get into the game. As usual, I'm going to have mostly engine off, but we'll go into it. Jacob plays e4. I answer with the Nimzovich defense. Remember, I've been working on this. He's going to play the main line d4. I played d5. This is known as the Scandinavian variation. What's funny is I've now played the Nimzovich multiple times against e4, and this is actually the first time we're getting the Scandinavian, which is online by far the predominant variation. And not surprisingly, it's the one I'm most practiced in. He goes e-takes, which is known as the exchange variation, and I take back with my queen. Here we go, exchange variation. This is it's not like it's immediately good for black, but I know this one pretty well. There's a lot of tricky lines here, and I'm going to say if you're an e4 player and you don't know how to play against the Nimzovich, because, 3% of people answer with knight c6, I would really recommend not playing this line as white, because it's very easy for white to be much, much worse very, very quickly. So you'll see, and looking at this, I was very proud of myself. I haven't reviewed my black lines for weeks, but it looks like, because I did check this in my notes afterward, it looks like I fucking smashed it. So I played like a computer for a while. So you're about to see Rob Stockfish. All right, he plays knight f3, and immediately the play is to launch e5, just immediately attack the center. I don't really want to talk too much about opening theory, because number one, it's not like I know it that great. I'm just kind of repeating moves. But two, it's not really what the game was decided anyway. Once I bang out e5, he plays knight c3. It looks like, uh-oh, my queen, I have to drop away. But no, there's one move here. It's a good move. You just, pin. And the idea here with the center and flux is I'm just going to pin to win, wrestling style. He now plays bishop d2. He's trying to break the pin. Obviously, I need to trade. He takes back, and I now play e4. And, yeah, Walla Walla Bing Bing. He only has one move here. For some reason, I was trying to remember what happens if he plays knight g5, but nothing happens. It's a bad move. So he plays knight e4, 5, excuse me, the only move that maintains an advantage for white. I go trade. He takes. And the key here is not to trade. I know it's very enticing. It's very, like, ooh, I can trade queens. But no, the key move is knight e7. The idea of they trade, it's very good for black because we trade. We immediately threaten to mess up the pawns. We have very quick development, and this pawn is actually doing a great job. It's not kind of isolated on its own. Anyway, looking at the clock, I was trying my best to remember my lines. So it looks like I burned about 5 minutes in the opening. Remember, I was a couple minutes late to the board, so I'm down to 122. Whereas this kid was moving immediately. There's no way he knows the theory. He just was moving very, very quickly. The whole game, he ended up using 25 minutes total. I used a little more than an hour. So this is the first game where time is really flipped on its head. And I'll show you, that's a big reason why I wanted to take a third round bye. Because we finished very early. We finished after an hour and a half rather than 3 hours. So I just didn't want to wait around the chess club for like multiple hours, when it was like, hot in there. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, once I play knight e7, he plays bishop e2. He's developing. And I play... This is roughly where my analysis ends. Yeah, this is roughly where the analysis ends. I end up playing bishop e6. I'm curious if it's the right move. It is one of the right moves. Bishop e6. The better move is just to castle. Just to say, okay, like nip tuck, let's go. Bishop d7 is slightly more accurate as well. But bishop e6 is a move. Okay, so this is kind of where my 10 moves deep of the exchange variation. Alright, so I play here. I think... Why did I develop there? I want a queenside castle, I guess. I kind of wanted to blockade this pawn. I didn't want any, like, e6 ideas where he'd open up on my g7 pawn. I thought that I'm providing a bastion for my knight to start jumping. And I have ideas of also rook d8. The whole time, if he trades, I'm happy because then I kind of attack the dark square bishop with tempo, which is why he's not trading. Anyway, now Jacob plays b3, which seemed like a very funky move, and I gave this position a couple minutes to think because my candidate moves are to castle, trade queens with the idea of basically swinging my rook in, or the move that I really wanted to play is this move queen c6. For the record, I queenside castle, but I calculated queen c6, he moves back, and then I thought I could play rook d8. Here, obviously, he's under attack. He really can only move to one of these two squares. Let's say queen c1, which is really funky. I just wasn't sure my follow-up. The whole time I was looking at tactics like e3 here, with the idea of like takes. And I thought this was kind of spicy. I couldn't evaluate if this was good for me. It looks like it's slightly good for me. It is. Okay. And it looks like queen takes, or right, I assume that he would go rook f1. But it looks like the bishop here is actually much stronger. And then the only square is I go to g6 with the idea of attacking this pawn, and black is slightly better. Okay, this is what I calculated for the record. I wasn't confident in it because I just didn't know with this line because these moves seem kind of forced. Again, backing off from the queen, attacking this bish. I don't think he can do something like queen d2. I think that's crazy because I just come in rook d8 with tempo. It looks like he finchetoed to kind of declare. I do declare. Anyway, the reason why I queenside castled is I thought that his bishop was pretty bad. His own pawn is blockading the scope. And I obviously want to encourage him to trade so I can just start expanding with tempo. I thought if I could basically own the only open file, the D file, with the idea of like rook d7, rook d8, then I'm just much better, especially because he has to waste a turn castling, and his pawns are already actually a little bit dubious. So, yeah, so I already like my position here. Again, there's almost no move where Jacob thought for a long period of time or even a decent period of time. Looking at my score sheet, there's a couple places where he thought for like 3 minutes at a time, but this was like typical kid game, you know. I'm thinking here and there though, which is nice. Anyway, he just immediately trades. I thought knight takes is ideal because I'm immediately attacking this. He jumps back to the Fianchetto square, and in my own head, I had already reached equality. I thought that I was doing pretty well here. I had a pretty strong center. Yeah, and black is a little bit better. And I have a very easy plan. I'm basically going to squadouche up here, and life is good. Okay, the computer likes my move best, actually. Knight b4. I don't know if you guys see that. But before I was going to double up my rooks, I started calculating, and I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Maybe I can threaten these forks. It's really hard for him to defend this pawn without losing this pawn. Like, if I go here, he can't go bishop d3. Again, my pawn on e4 is doing a great job. He can maybe play this super passive move, but then I actually have this tactic of taking the pawn anyway. He can't take necessarily. Well, no, only if he castles. I don't know. There's a few lines, but nonetheless, I just go knight b4. I figured I would attack it right away. And this is where, remember in the preamble I said where he grabbed a piece? He grabbed his king and he tried to castle queenside. And I said, whoa, 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 you can't do that. I said, look, it's a legal move. And he's like, oh, no. And so he castled. But not because he wanted to. He wanted to go this way. Not allowed, not legal. I didn't charge him the 2 minutes. I should have gotten 2 minutes on my clock. At this point, when he tried to castle, I was down to an hour 11. I still have plenty of time. I think that's why. I was like, whatever. I thought it'd be too much of a hassle to bring the tournament directors over, although he did make an illegal move here. Out of curiosity, what would have been his better move here? Yeah, it is bishop d1, which looks so passive, and that is his best move, just to defend it that way. Then the computer wants me to just like start ripping open with like a5. I think I was going to play slower, to be honest. So he castled. If he played bishop d1, I was going to go rook d7. Oh, actually, the computer does like my idea. They don't like a5. Okay, cool. Or to d5 first. Either one. Yeah, I didn't want to go to d5 initially because obviously his plan is to go bishop c4. But when he moves his bishop back, now I can slam it into d5. So yeah, I was going to go d5 or d7. Looks like they're both ideal. And yeah, and I saw this position. I got excited. I thought this is just like good for black. And it is. I've already kind of stolen away the advantage. All right, computer off. Computer off. Nonetheless, he castled. I thought for a little while here. In fact, it looks like 3-minute think. Because I wanted to, I couldn't figure out if rook d2 and ignoring the pawn is stronger or just claiming the pawn. So I'm curious because I obviously haven't looked at this game yet. I didn't look at the other one either. Okay, cool. I did just grab the pawn. Rook d2 is not as good because he does have the bishop d1, and I kept thinking of all these like these moves like bishop c3 or like backwards bishop c1 where my rook actually might get bounced and I might get stuck. So I didn't want to think forever in this position. I really was trying to calculate if rook d2 was just like a killer blow. But I said, look, I can grab the c2 pawn. I'm up a clear pawn. I'm attacking the rook. This has got to be like very good for me. And I'm right. It is very good for me. So I take on c2. He goes rook ac1. And I'm torn. I thought about going back and immediately just attacking the other pawn, kind of like making him waste time. Maybe what I should have done. But I get too fancy for my own liking. I played a knight d4 with the thinking that if he trades, that's great, because I take and I want to swing in the dub anyway, and I'm actually laterally defending the pawn that line. And if he doesn't, I'm threatening this bish with check, with potential forks. I also thought there were some lines where I might have this knight f3 and some lines which could cause all manner of shenanigans. So I was really torn. I mean, everything looked good. I spent 8 minutes on this move, okay, because I really wasn't sure if I should just go back or to attack this again. Sorry, I'm going to keep checking the computer because I'm genuinely curious if I made the right move or the wrong move. I made the wrong move. I did knight d4. They're both good. In fact, I could even play rook d2 here, which I should have given more consideration for. Once I didn't do it in the previous move, I thought it wasn't as good now, for whatever reason. Again, I don't know why. But all right, doesn't matter. I played knight d4. I thought this was good. You know, I'm still kind of controlling everything. I thought I could always just trade. He kind of has to defend it or move it. There's not a lot of places he could move it. If he goes here, I just chase him away. If he goes here, I win it. If he goes here, I win it. If he goes here, he's like completely, his position's starting to get really squozen. I actually thought that maybe trading was his best move, but he doesn't. And, he kind of surprised me here, Mr. Jacob. And he plays rook fe1. So he kind of gets us into the game. He's now kind of opening up on my pawn. And remember how I kept saying I wanted to do this, rook d7 idea? Obviously, I need to defend my knight. If he ever trades, I can just take it anyway. The rook is defending the c7 square at the moment as well, if I move it up. Yeah, I guess I didn't actually see his next move, but So I play rook d7, thinking I'm just up a clear pawn. I'm going to own the big center, and I'm going to just basically take the second, and I'm going to be much better. But I think Jacob plays a very good move, and he causes me to do another thing, because he plays bishop c4. And immediately here, I at first thought I'm losing this pawn back. Maybe. And then my gears started to tick, because I did a long think here. So at first, I was like, oh, sugar man, I messed up. I gave back a pawn. But then I was like, wait. I might have a sneaky back rank mate here. Okay? And my gears start to turn. The wagon wheels are a-rising. And I am thinking to myself, wait, if I can double up here and he takes this pawn, if I can basically, trade here, he has to, take or whatnot, and then basically throw in a useless check with the two rooks. I actually have a back rank checkmate. And I got excited because there are tactics here where actually white could just lose the game immediately. So at first I was like, okay, do I have to defend the pawn? So my first natural instinct was to play bishop f5. That doesn't work because he goes bishop takes knight, rook takes knight, bishop takes f7. And I think in that position, I'm not better anymore. Maybe I can then take the 7th and I can swing my rook underneath. And it's light square bishop against light square bishop, but I can maybe corral this pawn. I'm faster to it. But yeah. But then I thought, again, with the back rank, he's not actually threatening this pawn. I thought that I could double up. I was also considering, if there are any kind of, because I would love to be able to fork him, ways to dislodge this bishop. So I was actually looking at b5 here. But I saw it didn't work, because b5, he actually just takes. And then I would basically backwards tank with the knight. And because I'm not doubled up, I'm not actually threatening the back rank. So all is to say, I spent another 8 minutes here, realizing I have some funky tactics. And that the pawn is not actually immediately threatened. I can continue to improve my position, ideally landing the rook on the 7th, and I finally just play rook hd8. Let me just see real quick. Yeah, they like my move best. They also like pawn takes. For the record, the reason I didn't like pawn takes is I thought pawn takes... I know he can't... I don't think he can go rook takes. I think this is just checkmate. I think I just win here. Right? Or not win. Oh, no, because I have to move this over first. Right. Okay, and he's still not threatening this pawn. Okay. And if he goes pawn takes here, this is much, much worse. Because now I can just go to e6, and my knight is dominant. Okay, and I'm just taking the 7th. Okay, or the 2nd, excuse me. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I just double up the rooks. It seems good. If he trades, I take back. I thought that this knight on e6 was potentially massive because I'm actually defending the c7 square in all those lines. Also, if he takes this pawn, I might have some, forking ideas. So I actually really wanted my knight here. I didn't want him to trade because I thought my knight was stronger than his bishop. Again, his bishop is staring at this pawn. So from a positional perspective, I think he should have traded here. Yeah. And this is where the kid does a 3-minute think. And at first, he was going to just take this. I'm pretty sure if you take it, you lose. But then he plays h3. Just for the record, I'm pretty sure this is mate. Is it? Not quite. I guess they can save themselves because bishop takes bishop. But if they go rook takes... Yeah, okay. It's because here, and they can't actually take because you're threatening checkmate. You need to play... you need to play the look for the king because I am threatening the back rank mate here. But this is obviously a disaster for white. That would be a brilliant. Cool. And I did see those vague ideas of, getting the brilliance. Anyway, he plays h3, and I think he's quelling the, he's solving his dilemma, for the most part. And I know I'm up a pawn right now, but I actually didn't think I could defend it, nor did I think I was supposed to. So instead, I decided to get my knight where it belonged, open up my rooks, and I could win one of these pawns back anyway. So I spent a little while, again, another think, wondering the best way to do that, and I decided my best course forward was to just trade. So I trade. He doesn't bungle up his pawn structure. He plays rook takes on c4. And I know I've got all these, tactics, I think, but at the end of the day, I want my knight on e6, and I want my rook on the second. So if I want something, I'm going to fucking make it happen. So I go knight e6. I think this is the best move. He plays rook takes on 1 to 4, which I thought was definitely a mistake. Doubling up here, these rooks feel so misplaced, to be honest. I know that there's actually, there's forks potentially for these two guys if I'm able to land my knight on those squares as well, which is something, observational skills. But I thought my play here, I played pretty quickly. Looks like I spent, just a minute on these next two moves. I had to decide between rook d2, skewering the back line, or checking him first and then moving up. And I thought if his king was further out of the action, it may let me take either pawn. I thought checking him was more accurate. This is the only move, and then I very quickly go 1 to d2. I'm obviously attacking the pawn, also attacking the bishop. When he moves the bishop, I can attack either pawn, and when the dust settles, I win back the pawn that I gave away due to my D column? Row? No, it's a column. File. That's what I'm looking for. Due to my D file supremacy. And I think white is in a lot of trouble here. I mean, his king is out of play. Mine is centralized. His rooks are kind of funky, to be honest. His dark square bishop is staring at his own minion. And I actually have a really powerful centralized knight. So I thought I was much better here. So I was pretty happy with myself, He plays bishop c3, which I think is probably his best move. And I did a mini think here. And the reason why, I spent 3 minutes. I didn't know which pawn I'm supposed to take. Whichever one I take, he can defend the other one. But the way I decided is that if I take the f pawn, the e pawn is now isolated, and it will be very easy for me to gobble up. And I still have a 3-on-2 pawn majority on the queen side. I thought if I gobble the a pawn, yes, I have fast play, but then he has a 4-on-3, and he still has chances to win. Maybe I'm way off. Also, I thought getting closer to the king, if I'm ever able to stack up, I can just win all his pawns. This was probably the best place for his bishop because he is preventing me from getting my other rook onto the second row. But when the dust settled, I then took on f2. And that was my thinking, that this is now isolated. He now has a 2-on-3 in this spot, so I'm basically winning on both sides of the board. Whereas if I took on this one, I thought that maybe he'd have some kingside play. And, why give him any kind of play? Why? Why? Well, it's not. He plays a4. It's the best way to protect the pawn. It's obviously, it was under attack. Under attack! So I now need to decide how to infiltrate. I see I have a clever line of basically d3 and then doubling up, forcing him to move the rook. We get the rooks off the board. If not, obviously, I'll win a piece. If I can move him away from the protecting the d2 square, then I'd actually then move it to d2, and I would have a battery just winning all his pawns. So I just thought this was a very logical move. Rook d3. He plays rook e1. Not a move I really understood. It doesn't seem to solve any of his problems. So I just follow through with my plan. I just go rook c2. Obviously, the bishop is attacked twice. As soon as he moves the bishop, I can trade rooks, and then I realize that these pawns are then also disjointed islands. It's going to be very easy for me to round them up. And when the dust settles, I just figured I'm up 2 clear pawns. And this is a pretty easy endgame. Pretty easy. I'm not an endgame expert, but I figured I could beat somebody a little bit weaker than me, 100% of the time with this setup. So he plays bishop a1. He's trying to keep it on the table. I shrug. I trade. He goes B takes C, and now he's got these disjointed pawns. I can win another one. I figure, why not? If I win this pawn, I can just push my own pawn. It's passed pawn. This is very easy. He cannot defend this pawn. And as soon as I play rook A3, he plays bishop B2, which makes sense, because if he moves his rook off this file, I could just win his bishop. I don't think long, think wrong, and I take on A4. Seems pretty clear-cut. And as soon as I take on A4, with a split second, he plays rook F1. And this is where I did another decent thing, 6 minutes or so. Because the whole time I'm thinking, oh shit, should I give him counterplay? If I take, he takes on F7. And he's threatening to, massacre me on the 7th. And the last thing I want to do when I'm up 2 pawns is give some kind of perpetual or some kind of chances for, obviously a funky mate or any kind of counterplay. So I had to think, is there any way for me to defend this pawn? And I was calculating knight D8. The problem, what I calculated, is knight D8, E6, opening up his bishop, also targeting the pawn. I would obviously take with the pawn, because if I take with the knight, he crashes down. So again, bear with me. My calculation was knight D8, E6, F takes, bishop takes, and I was worried that he gets his rook on F8, pinning my knight, and then he has this backwards bishop move to F6, putting all the pressure on my knight, and I potentially was losing the piece. I still think I'm maybe even winning. If he has no pawns here, I've got the 3 connected passed pawns. But I thought, why would I want to go into that? I then saw, okay, if I take this pawn and I let him get the counterplay, my knight on E6 is actually pretty strong, because I'm preventing the check here. I'm blockading this pawn so he cannot get his active bishop. I'm protecting my G pawn. So what am I worried about? Well, if he moves over, I thought to myself, wait, if I take his pawn, I can always slide my rook to C6. I'm laterally defending my knight. They're on light squares, so I never need to worry about this bishop. And then once I've secured that defensive hold, I can just push these pawns for the victory, and that's a very simple win. And that's exactly what happened. So basically, I was deliberating between knight D8 and rook takes C4, and I realized I could allow him this counterplay because it's not actually going anywhere. So I was kind of proud of myself for that, in-game. I didn't panic, worry when it looks like he's getting some counterplay, but he's really not. So when the dust settled, I took on C4. He took on F7. I played B5. I thought this was an important move. Again, trying to push these pawns. I'm also giving a lift square for my king so I can run. Again, the C7 square is always defended by this knight, so there's never any worry about a lot of pressure on this pawn. It's always safe. And he plays rook E7, and it looks like he's attacking my knight. We made all these moves pretty instantaneously. He still has an hour and 10 on his clock. This kid didn't really think very much. I play rook C6. Again, this was my plan. Now his king is cut off. These pawns are connected. My knight defends everything. This pawn is blockaded, and I can just run with my king. I thought this was super easy, super winning, and I was very pleased with myself. Okay, to be completely honest. He then plays king G3, and it's funny. When he played this, I then thought to myself, I'm like, oh, he's trying to run in to get another attacker on the knight. And I thought that was pretty clever. I don't want to stop him like that, because if I play G6, he actually does win the H pawn, and now maybe he starts checking me around or so. And again, if he can never start pushing this pawn, I actually might have some troubles. So I thought at first I should just allow it. And I played B4. My idea is B4, A5, A4, etc., etc. Just again make a queen. Simple as. But then he played king G4, and I realized he's actually coming in pretty fast. So now I start thinking, wait, can I trap his rook? And I see that I can go king D1. His only move is rook F7, and then I can go to E8 on a light square. He can't take this pawn. He can't take this pawn. He can't go here. He can't go here. So I would eject his rook. And I thought once his rook is ejected, I can connect these pawns and just push them, ideally with the rook behind. And again, I thought, okay, clearly winning. I don't need to worry. Maybe. He plays, so I do that. I play king D8. I don't want to let him get his king over to F5. He plays rook F7, only move. I play king E8. I attack it again. And he goes rook F3. So he falls back. Obviously, he can't go here. My knight is defending against the pawn. So once we're here, I now say to myself, okay, Rob, like, we played, like a coward. I was worried, but I ejected him. He has no threat. Let's just resume pushing the pawn. So I play a5. The idea here, again, a5, a4, a3, attacking the bishop, and again, just like rolling home, getting the rook behind. I thought this was like plainly winning. He now plays king f5 anyway, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And at first, I was wondering if I should ignore this and just pushing the pawns. And here, I think I made a mistake. I played g6 check. My thinking was I saw this with the tactic, but it doesn't quite work. And so this is where I was like playing for like blitz stuff. Again, this is where I'm actually down to 37 minutes. So I don't have tons of time on the clock. And he plays king e4. And I'm like, okay, cool. I've just won the game. Knight g5 check. And then as soon as I play this, I realize he actually has king d5. And I can win his rook. He can win my rook. I still think that's quite winning. But I didn't want to go into this. I thought that maybe his king is like over here. And it's like, it gets a little bit funky. Maybe the game is easier if I leave the rooks on the board. And I thought, okay, because obviously he attacks my rook, if that's not clear. King d5, move 37. And I said, okay, if I move here, I'm attacking this piece, I'm attacking this piece, I'm attacking that. Everything is under attack. His king is cut off. I have 3 connected pawns. I can just push. This has to be winning. So I play rook c2, and he plays rook b3, and everything for the time being is held, sort of. And it's weird. I can take this pawn. I can push. I saw c5, c4. If I land c4 or even a4, I eject him from the defense of his bishop. Right, I can't go a4 here because I thought that he could just take my pawn. Yeah. So I thought I needed to play c5, and then I can play a4 because the c5 is defended by my rook. And then I would dislodge his rook, and then I would just win his bishop, and then, like, life is easy, right? Or at least so I thought so. So I play c5. Here's where things started to get a little bit funky. I should be winning 1,000 ways, but I make this a little bit of a mess. He plays h4, and the whole time I'm calculating is a4 just winning. By the way, real quick, I just want to show in this position... I thought knight takes, king takes. I actually wasn't sure if this is even winning. It is. Okay, because knight e1, and I'm looking to gobble the pawns, and I just give this, and I can, like, push them or something. Okay. All right. This is still -5. This is just totally lost for white. Maybe I should have just done that. That would have been easier. Instead, I play this move. Is this even more winning? No, it's like the same, basically. Okay, both moves are fine. All right, I panicked momentarily there for no reason. Anyway, he plays h4, and I did the thing where... Okay, I'm sure the computer wants me to play, like, a4 or c4. Yeah, those are the best moves. And, like... Wow. Knight e4, apparently. Just... What? Sacking it is good for me? Okay, when we arrived at this position, move 39, he has 1 hour and 6 left, I have 32 minutes. I said to myself, why even let him win a piece back? Like, obviously, if I go here, he loses this, but why give him that with these pawns pushed and, like, why give him anything? I thought I didn't have to. So I played knight f7, okay? And, like, I guess it's not the most accurate. I really could have just played, like, a4 there and just won the game. But I thought to myself, like, why give him a piece? Like, if things don't work, why give him the material? Like, yeah, I'm delaying queening. I'm kind of mucking it up. And, it's just not very accurate. It's not very precise, And the problem is he immediately goes e6. And, again, I think to myself, oh, whoopsies, I've messed this up a little bit. The computer still wants me to just go like a4 or c4, which just shows how strong that is, how quickly you're making a queen. And I don't know why I was so worried, but I kind of get myself in trouble here, actually. I play knight h6 to keep it on. He immediately plays bishop f6. Now I don't have the threat of dislodging the rook to win the bishop. And he actually, funny enough, is setting up a mating web on his own. And when this occurs, I thought to myself that I had officially messed up this game. I play knight f5, thinking that it's into the game. I mean, he can just play g4, by the way. My thinking was, worst case scenario, I go knight d4. I give him a pawn back where he takes. But then I can just, again, just push these pawns and win this pawn, and then I don't have to worry. But I'm really hotel Californiaing this one up. He plays rook d3. And his idea is pretty clear. If he can move the king, he actually has checkmate, And I realize I've kind of brutalized things. Play c4 now, attacking the rook. Can't go here. Can't go here. And the reason I thought this was strong, and this is how the game ends, thankfully, is he immediately, within 2 seconds, plays rook d1. It's what I was hoping he would do. Because I knew I had this fork. And this does, in fact, end the game. He resigns on the spot, and I don't have to play anymore, because now I will win the rook. And with the rook, this is a incredibly trivial, easy game, because obviously he's never queening. I've never moved my king, and I'm going to make 3 queens. So, yeah, so I did win this game. Not a surprise, given how it went, but my last 10 moves, I made it a little bit dicey. I'm glad he sort of blundered at the end. I'm probably still just winning, but it was a little bit dicier than expected. All right, let's do the game review first. So we'll do that, and then we'll save it. And then I'll do some quick analysis. I played a 90% game. Cool, 90.7. I played pretty well. 2000, cool. That's pretty good. My technique at the end left a lot to be desired, but I did play pretty well, so pretty good. All right, the good news is maybe my March slump is up. I had been sick. In fact, I'm still a tiny bit sick today, but I'm going to just chalk up the last 2 weeks where I have not played my A game to basically just being under the weather. Maybe this tournament is my breakout, I took the bye this 3rd round. Tomorrow I'll have 2.5 points. I'll probably be... Maybe somebody has 3 points for the tournament leader, but I do know if I win both my games tomorrow, I will win the tournament. So let's fingers crossed, hope that happens. I'm proud of this game. Again, anytime I'm plus 90%, I think that's a very good game. I made it a little bit more exciting or dicey towards the end. I really, I probably should not have done that. But, it is what it is. Looking at the computer, Queenside Castle is okay here. What do they prefer? They prefer Kingside Castle? No, it's Queenside Castle is the best move. Queen c6. Oh right, Queen c6. Yeah, this I wanted to see this calculation. Queen c6 here. He goes to b2 because that's the obvious spot. Because this is what I was calculating, and then knight g6. They like knight g6 here. That's not what I was planning on doing. I was planning on going rook d8. Okay, rook d8 is the best move as well. Rook d8, and then queen c1. Yep, best move. And then with queen c1... Actually, why is queen b1 a total blunder? Queen b1 is a total blunder because knight f5 is coming? Still understand. Alright, well, whatever reason. So queen c1, and then my follow-up from here would be like e3. Yeah. If he takes, then I take. I own the second. Yeah, in e3, and if he takes... Yeah, if he takes here, I would have taken here on g2, hitting everything, kebabbing him. And if he does something crazy like that, then that opens the door for me to go queen takes on g2. Yeah, and now this has got to be winning. So much activity. Okay, cool. However, he trades queens. Oh, wow. I don't know if you guys see this. They actually like rook takes. Oh, that makes sense. Well, they're equal, but rook takes lets me double up faster and sooner. I thought that knight takes makes sense because I'm immediately attacking the bishop. The two moves are pretty equal and pretty good. Bishop takes is the worst of the three, though. That's his best move. Bishop d2. They like my move. Knight b4. He blundered here. I mean, the only move that he's not totally lost is bishop d1, which is not a great move to play anyway. I have these forking ideas. But he grabbed his king. Even if he was allowed to queens... I guess if he was allowed to queenside castle, he would... Well, I'd still win this pawn. Yeah. Unfortunately, he made a legal move. He blunders, and I'm just much better. I take. He plays here. And they do like just retreating. Interesting. Just kind of sitting on the lead there, being pretty happy with that. Obviously, it's what I should have done. Or playing rook d2 here. Because he doesn't have great moves in this spot. Because he can't attack my bishop, my rook, because then I just win his rook. So he basically has to drop to like h5. And then from here... Oh, that's a hard move. It's not that hard move. I would have seen this. But you basically go knight e3 with the idea that you kind of sacrifice it there, but then you actually win the bishop, and you still have this amazing, amazing rook on b2. And black is just... this is just winning. Cool. All right, so maybe I should have slammed it there when I had the chance. Oh! I'm glad that we got to this spot with the computer, because I did want to talk about this for a moment. In this spot on move 16, it looks like I thought for, this was like the 8-minute think or so in this spot. I decided against trading, because I didn't want... I know it's still rooks on the board, but I thought trading was fine. Number one, I thought that it doubles up his rooks and kind of makes it easy for him to have a plan. But number two, it would be bishops of opposite. And I thought that my position was so strong that if we went to a bishops of opposite game, that he'd have incredibly high drawing chances. So I knew this was a good move, but I just didn't, and then with a plan of just, rook d7, I thought he would take the pawn here. Oh, as soon as he takes the pawn, then I'm able to take the second, and then I'm much better. So he actually really shouldn't even take the pawn. I feel like this kid would have taken the pawn. Yeah, rook d8, something like that. All right. Whatever. Anyway, but that's actually why I didn't... that's actually why in this position, I didn't take. Because I felt that I could always take it. And then he surprised me with this bishop c4 idea. But I did know that trading was good. It looks like rook d7 is the second best move. They're pretty good. They're pretty close. But I didn't want the opposite color bishops in this position. I'm up a pawn, but I just thought it was too potentially drawy when I thought I was just dominating, basically. So that's why I didn't go into that. Once he plays bishop c4, they like trading and they like the rook hd8. No, they like my move, rook hd8, which is what I play. Cool. I was unsure about this. He gives himself some luft. I trade, best move. He takes back. Yeah, they like b5. That's the idea I had in this position, b5. I just wasn't sure what was happening next. I thought I could eject him b5, and this opens up some luft for my king. But like, okay, so let's say he goes... Actually, not. I wasn't sure where he'd go. That's the thing. I mean, if he plays here, he's getting his piece trapped, right? There's the fork. So he can't go there. So if he goes c5, the whole idea of this position is knight e6, backwards move attacking the rook again. But if you go knight e6, can he just take the b5? And the whole idea is to trade rooks, I guess. Rook d1. I'm going to be honest, I don't love this. Okay, now you go here. Okay, this is where you just start to get, like, both pigs in the blanket. All right. Anyway, my opponent missed a chance with this rook. Yeah, and I did think that... I thought his move was quite inaccurate. I thought this was more natural and better. Because I thought if he does this and I play d2, he actually has his move to, like, okay, just so you guys can see. If I go rook d2 here, he can play, I think this rook makes more sense, but it's not as good. He can play here. Oh, apparently that's not good because now I have knight f4. Oh, clever. All right, so then you have to actually go here. And what's the follow-up? You just check him. He goes to h2, and then you play b5. You just start pushing the majority, the pawn majority. Honestly, or you go here looking to trade off a pair of rooks. Yeah, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Computer gives black positionally just much better. I guess the king is kind of shut out. I control the open d file. His bishop isn't as good as my knight. But it's funny. It's like an even material spot where black is considerably better. All right, nonetheless, I check him. Computer likes this. He moves up. I go back. I'm now assaulting this bish. He goes up. Made sense. And they like f2. It's one I took. Better than a2. I'm glad. I honestly had no idea, but I explained my logic in the review, so hopefully you guys, agree with me. We're going to end this recap in a minute. I take on f2. a4 is his best move. And then d3. Hey, that's what I played. Looks like I played very well. Again, my finish was probably not awesome. They like rook c2. Best move. He plays a1. They like me taking on c4, which is what I did. B takes, and then from here, king d8. Not a move I was considering, to be completely honest. An a5 to lock the pawns here does make a lot of sense. So maybe my move is a little bit inaccurate. No, my move is still good. Rook a3, just to immediately pick up the pawn. They attack. I take another pawn. He goes over. Again, the infiltration. Yeah, the computer likes my plan. I'm thrilled. You just take the pawn. You let him have it. It's what I calculate. Because I thought this move, I'm just going to show you. This is what I was calculating at first. It looks like it's still winning. But I thought e6, which is what the computer recommends. And then if I go pawn takes, yeah, it's not like, look, okay, because apparently that's a bad move for me. But this is not so easy. I thought after this, and then rook f8. Yeah, okay. Computer still says -2. But I thought white has sincere counterplay chances, and I didn't want to go into this, so I didn't. He takes. They like the king d8 immediately, so that you don't have to bring your rook back, because then this king is preventing the rook e7. But b5 is good too. They like the rook c6 idea. He brings his king in. I push my pawn. He moves his king up. They like my plan, king d8, he moves over. I should just play a5 here. Okay, just a5, just start pushing, Rob. Like, I don't need to be worried. He ejects. Now I play a5, great move. King f5. King e7 is the better move. Yeah, I should just chill here, protect that way, and then I can free up my rook. g6 check is still good. Okay, e4. I thought this won on the spot with the fork. But again, d5, he's still in the game. No, they like my move best. Rook c2. I'm attacking everything. He's supposed to go... He went rook b3. I mean, look, the game's over. Apparently c6 check, not c5. I don't know why. I could have taken the pawn too. Well, c5 is still decent. I also could have moved my king to e7 or something like that. Okay. Yeah, and here I should just ignore. I should just play a4. Like, yeah, the reason why is because he basically, he's gonna, like, he's just in a lot of trouble. Like, there's, I mean, first off, if he takes, I take. This is completely winning, obviously. And if he moves his rook, where's the scariest place for him to move the rook? I don't know. You guys tell me. What's the scariest place for him to move the rook? Apparently a3, and I could just take it that way, which is insane, obviously. So, let's say to d3. And in this position, they want me to just take, and then I'm assuming he takes my knight. And this is what I should have just done. I don't know why I was afraid. First I was afraid, I was petrified. Yeah, and you just give this pawn, you just play a3. It's unstoppable. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's -8. This is unstoppable. Where are we in the game? I don't know. Alright, well, nonetheless, I'm going to just go forward quite a bit. Where were we? We were... Oh. Wowie zowie. Alright, we'll finish strong. Fork, played this move. He moves over. I move up. Now, okay, yeah, this is where I broke serve, so to speak, and I started moving my knight like a moron. I mean, it's still super winning, but I gave him, like, not like I gave him any chances, but I made it, like, it's -3 now. It's, like, not even clear that this is completely over yet. He should play rook b1. So he goes over. c4 is the best move. And now what he dropped. Okay, so he can't threaten mate. Okay? He can't go here. He can't go here. He can't stay there. He can't go there. So I like my move. But the computer says that he can go to, like, rook h3. I thought... Okay, like, let's just pretend he goes rook h3. Why would I play c3 here? Wouldn't I just play b3? b3, b2, b1? Oh, because he's threatening a checkmate, by the way. So I have to go something like that. Ah, this is getting dicier than it ought to, you know? Yeah, this is definitely getting dicier than it should. Check. I mean, it's fine. And now I can just push, hopefully. Yeah, b2. Alright. He can't stop it, because then I just go here. So, this is just game. Game blouses. Yeah, because if he goes here, now I just have this very simple move, rook c1. And this game is over. Okay, cool. So, not the greatest technique to end the game, but overall a very well-played game. Let's hope I play well tomorrow. Again, my only goal, play well, and good stuff will happen. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to end this here. Have a good night. Yeah. Oh, let's give it 5 more seconds. Let it fade out. Fade out. Woo. We'll turn the analysis off. Nope, it's still frozen. Is it still frozen? No, not frozen anymore. Okay, now I will end the video. Have a good one.